Welcome. Today, I want to look in the book of Daniel. Let's look in the book of Daniel and see, does Daniel tell us of a pre-tribulation rapture, or does Daniel tell us that we're going to be here during the Great Tribulation? If we look in Daniel chapter 7, and let's go to verse 25. And Daniel writes, "And he shall speak words against the Most High God." Now, who Daniel is talking about here is the Antichrist. If you look in the verses before it, plain as day, he's speaking of the Antichrist. So the Antichrist, he's going to speak words against the Most High God. And the Antichrist will speak as no one has ever spoke before, and he'll be blasphemous. So what he'll be doing, he'll be religious. Remember, the Bible tells us in the New Testament that he'll be religious, but it'll all be false. It'll all be fake. And it says, "And he shall wear out the saints," of the Most High, and think to change the time and the law. He'll wear out the saints. Pre-tribulation rapture theory tells us that the saints aren't going to be around. It tells us that we're gone. 3.5 years before all this starts tells us we're out of here. But Daniel writes that the Antichrist is going to wear out the saints. It goes on, and it says, "And the saints shall be given into his hand for a time, 2 times, and a half a time," which is 3.5 years. So, once again, Daniel tells us that for whatever reason, our Father during the last days is going to allow us to be persecuted. And the reason he'll do that, why would God ever do that? Look throughout the Bible. It's not about flesh. All throughout the Bible, people have always been persecuted for their testimony. Our Father, though, empowers us with his complete love, his complete victory, to endure those persecutions. He'll never allow us to be tempted above that which we can take. He will always be greater in us than anything that's in this world. And remember, Jesus says he's returning for a glorious church without spot, wrinkle, or blemish, or any such thing. And Paul writes that he rejoices in trials and tribulations because those persecutions and those trials actually perfect our Father's Spirit within us. So there's something about the way that our Father made us, that in times of trial, that in times of tribulation, we get greater in him. And Jesus is returning for that glorious church without spot, wrinkle, or blemish. So what will we do as people are being martyred and they're being killed for the testimony of Jesus Christ, and the Antichrist is allowed to do it? We will be loving people, and people will see that love, and they will see the power of our Father, and they will see that we do not fear death. We don't count our flesh as being anything. It's our spirits. And as our spirits are being used to help those around us, because remember, the Bible says that millions upon millions of people come out of the Great Tribulation. That's going to be a wonderful time. It'll be a time when the flesh is being asked to be martyred. But what a glorious time of people winning. And the Bible tells us, man, if we are martyred for Jesus, we are raised to a better resurrection. God will reward us for it. If he asks us to go through that, there's clearly going to be a reward for eternity. And like Paul writes, man, the troubles of this time are so brief and so small when you compare them to the eternity that we are going to be given. All right. Now, some people will tell me that these are different saints, Brad. These are not the saints. The true saints, the ones that are the church, the bride, they're going to be caught out of here, and we're going to wait while all this tribulation is going on, and then we will return and we're going to rule the world. All right? So they'll say, no, these are different saints. But if we go down to verse 27 in Daniel, it says, "In the kingdom and the dominion and the greatness of the kingdom under the whole heavens shall be given to the people of the saints of the Most High. His kingdom is an everlasting kingdom, and all of the dominion shall serve and obey him." Daniel's writing about the saints. He says the saints are going to be persecuted. He says, but what? The saints that he's talking about are going to be given dominion. The saints, the church is a church, people. There's not parts of the church in different parts, and this part and that part. We're the church. and saints will be given authority. And we will rule and we will reign with Jesus for the 1,000 years of the millennial reign of Christ. And then we are going to rule with him forever because we're his bride. We're always going to be one with him. We're one with him right now. And if our Father asks us to be here during the Great Tribulation, he will empower and use us because we have not been given a spirit of fear, but a faith, of love, a hope, and a sound mind. So even Daniel is telling us, just like the apostles told us, just like the scriptures tell us, there is not a pre-tribulation rapture. This is the truth, and it sets us absolutely and completely free.